Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Chaitanya Caritāmrta open class. Thank you for joining in. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahiyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानो सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone. We are discussing from 8th chapter of Adi Leela Chaitanya Charitāmrta. This is a very important chapter in which the author is receiving the blessings of the Guru and Krishna. And this chapter establishes the power of blessings of the superiors. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripa tamham vande Shri Guru Deen Taranam. Just by blessings and mercy of the devotees, Guru and Krishna, one can do unimaginable things. That is what Kaviraj Goswami is going to describe in this chapter. So far we have discussed till 21st verse, where Kaviraj Goswami is describing that I am writing this, Chaitanya Charitamrita that is unimaginable because I am old, I cannot see anything, I cannot hear anything, but still I am writing. It is so very astonishing. Only by mercy of the Lord I am doing all these things. And then he establishes that people, they can't accept the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Karaha Vichar Vichar Karile Chitte Pabe Chamatkar. So unless one accepts mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya, they can never understand Krishna. And Kaviraj Goswami writes in great detail about this process. Because what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give, he has come to give Prema Bhakti, which was not given in Satya, Treta, Dwapar. He has come to give that to each and everyone, although they are qualified or not qualified. Dinahina yatachilo harinama uddharilo tarasakshi jagai madhai. He gave it to the lowest of the people, like Jagai Madhai, who are doing all sinful things. That is the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya. To understand the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya, we have to understand how rare bhakti is. That is what Kaviraj Goswami is telling now. Krishna yadi chute bhakte bhukti mukti diya, kabhu Krishna prema na den rakhe na lukaiya. Krishna will give sense gratification, Krishna will give liberation, but he will not give bhakti, prema. Kabhu Krishna prema na den rakhe na lukaiya. He keeps it hidden, because Krishna becomes controlled by the devotee's love. So therefore he doesn't give it so easily. It is so very rare. So till 21st verse, we heard how Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who is the supreme independent Lord, he is giving this mercy to everyone, which was not given by Krishna so easily. That is the benefit of Lord Chaitanya's movement. Swatantra Ishvara Prema Nigudha Bhandar. Lord Chaitanya is Swatantra. Is Prema Nigudha Bhandar. And therefore, Bilaila Yare Tare Nakoila Vichar. He is giving this to everyone. And then he says, you know, this mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is still available. It is not that it happened in the past and it will not happen now. Adyapiha dekhaze Chaitanya namayai Krishna preme pulakashru vihval se hoy. Adyapiha, even now, whether offensive or inoffensive. When we chant the names of Krishna, we have to consider the offenses. But there are no offenses in chanting the names of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. Chaitanya Nityananda name nahi ai sab vichar. Naam laite prem den bhahyashrudhar. Whether one is offensive or inoffensive, they just take the name of Lord Chaitanya. Even now the mercy is available. Adyapiha dekha Chaitanya namayai lai. Krishna preme pulak ashru vihval. They'll be ecstatic. They'll be overwhelmed with ecstasy. It is now. Also, it is possible. It is possible now also. Prabhupada writes, you can see this in Sahajiyas. Sahajiyas, although they may be doing all sinful activities also, but because they chant, and even if they artificially cry in ecstasy, in due course of time, these tears will help them come close to Krishna. Apichet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhur eva samantavya samyak vivasito hi saha. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, even if somebody is sinful, doing wrong activities, sudurachar, not just ordinary sinful, sudurachar, very sinful. Shipram, very soon he will become Dharmatma. That is the power of Lord Chaitanya. Because when this transformation happens, this will not happen automatically. When they come in touch with a pure devotee, then they will experience the transformation. Without association of devotees, there is no transformation which is possible. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, even in the beginning, if they are chanting the names of Gaur Nitai, very swiftly, very quickly, they will advance in bhakti. If they just chant the names of Gaur Nitai. Because when you see from a long-term point of view, from the point of view of Lord Chaitanya, from Krishna's point of view, this one lifetime, what is this? This is nothing, insignificant. So therefore, very quickly they become purified. Nityananda bolite hoye Krishna premoday aulaya sakalang ashru ganga vai. Power of Lord Nityananda is so much. Anybody who chants without any ulterior motives, or even if ulterior motives are there, if just he takes the name of Lord Nityananda, Nityananda bolite hoye Krishna prem uday, this is what is in store. Even Krishna prem, aulaya sakalang ashru gangavai, and he will develop ecstatic symptoms. That is the power of Nityananda Prabhu's name. He's so merciful. Mahaprabhu comes and says, oh, please, everybody come, I'll give you love of God. Still people are not coming. Nityananda Prabhu is going to each and every person's home. And he's ready to be beaten. But he wants to give love to everyone, including Jagai Madhai. When Nityananda Prabhu sees Jagai Madhai, he thinks, if these people take the names of my Lord, then the glories of my Lord's name will be spread throughout the world. So they want to deliver even Jagai Madhai also. That is the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Then Kaviraj Goswami gives the detail of what is offensive and inoffensive chanting. He says, holy names of the Lord, they consider offenses. That's why there are 10 offenses against the holy names. Krishna naam kare aparadhira vichar, Krishna bolile aparadhira na hoye vikar. Krishna naam, when you are chanting the names, we should be very, very careful not to commit offenses. Krishna naam kare aparadhira vichar. And if we are chanting and making offenses against the holy names, Krishna bolile aparadhira na hoye vikar, we will not develop the ecstatic symptoms. No transformation will happen. And that's why, even after chanting so many times, so many years, but still no transformation because offenses. But Prabhupada writes, it is very beneficial to chant the names of Panchatattva, Shri Krishna Caitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. When we chant Panchatattva mantra, and then we chant the holy names, the Hare Krishna mantra, then we get benefited the more. Then there are more chances by the mercy of Panchatattva, we will commit less offenses when we are chanting. And Prabhupada writes in detail about all the 10 offenses against the holy names of the Lord. Very great detail Prabhupada describes whatever 10 offenses which we chant. To blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives or propagating the holy names of the Lord. And all the other 9 he describes in detail. Then Kaviraj Goswami quotes a verse from Bhagavatam. If somebody is making offenses against the holy names of the Lord, they will never experience ecstatic symptoms. Their heart becomes like steel framed. So this verse comes in the 2nd canto of Bhagavatam. Tadashmasaram hridayam batedam yad grihyamane harinamatheyah na vikriyetat yatha vikaro netre jalam gatra ruheshu harshah. Tad ashmasara. Shukdev Goswami is telling to Parikshit Maharaj, if somebody is offending the holy names of the Lord or offending the devotees of the Lord, the heart becomes steel framed. That means it becomes really hard. No emotions develop in that personality if he is offending the holy name or devotees. Tad grihyamanai harinamadhe, even if he chants for many, many lifetimes, he will not experience transformation. Netre jalam gatra ruheshu harsa, it will not come. Prabhupada writes, we see sometimes the neophytes, we must have seen sometimes people, outsiders, non-devotees, they come to temple and just by taking darshan of the Lord, they start crying. Just by being in kirtan, they become ecstatic, they start crying and dancing. Although they may not be advanced devotees. One time, such person came to one of the temples and Prabhupada was there, and this person, he started chanting and dancing and crying and fainted. So devotees are surprised. What is this happening? They went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, it seems there is a pure devotee here. Prabhupada said, okay. If he is so, then please go and hit him with a stick. If he is making a show, he will run away. And devotees, as soon as they, took a stick near him, he understood, he ran away. So Prabhupada writes, how to understand if somebody is making a show of ecstasy, show of being a pure devotee, or actually he is a pure devotee. Actually he is showing symptoms of ecstasy. How to understand? Prabhupada writes, the test of real change of heart is he develops detachment from the material happiness. Material enjoyment doesn't attract this personality anywhere, you know, now further. He's completely detached. Rupa Goswami in Bhaktirasamrita Sindhu, he gives 9 symptoms, reliable symptoms of bhava. How to understand if a devotee is at the level of bhava or not? Because there are two problems. Sahajiyas, they may imitate these symptoms, and those who are actually pure, they will never express these symptoms in public. So how to understand who is a pure devotee, who is a bhava bhakta? There are 9 reliable symptoms. Shantir avyartha kalatvam virakti man shunyata asha bandha samutkantha namagane sadaruchi आसक्ति तद्गुणाख्याने प्रीतिस्तदवसति स्थले इति आदयो अनुभावास्यु जात भावांकुरे जने. Shanti means perseverance. Continue to practice devotional service in midst of all odds. Perseverance. Avyartha kalatvam, this is a very, very difficult thing. To not waste even a single moment, especially in the age of media and social distractions. To be focused, it is very difficult. Avyartha kalatvam, not wasting a single moment. Virakti, virakti means detachment. What is the difference between virakti and vairagya? This devotee, Bhav Bhakta, is not just a Vairagi, he is a Virakta. Vairagya means the taste of sense gratification is still there. But Virakti means the taste itself is not there. He is not grudgingly saying no to sense gratification. He is happily saying no to sense gratification. I don't want it. Yadavadi mama cheta Krishna padara vinde नव नव रस धाम्योद्यतं रन्तुमासीत् अहोबत नारी संगमे स्मर्यमाणे भवति मुख विकार सुष्ठु निष्ठीवनं च. Yamunacharya is praying, oh my Lord, after I have started experiencing newer and newer ecstasies of devotional service, whenever I remember the thought of association with women come in my mind, my lips curl in distaste and I spit at that thought. That is virakti. Shanti, avyartha kaltum, virakti. Man shunyata, no desire for respect. Trinadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahishnuna, amanina manadena. Manashu, asha bandha, always hopeful. Krishna will protect me. In all difficult circumstances, devotee is always hopeful. Samutkantha, at the same time, he is very eager to render devotional service. He is not at all lazy. He's very eager. He's always fresh and youthful and excited about practice of devotional service. One devotee was telling just a few days back, I am actually excited by the whole process of devotional service even after 20 years. We see such excitement in people when they start practicing, they join Krishna consciousness. Very excited, ready to do all the services, ready to go to Dham because it is all new. Newness attracts a new devotee. A neophyte devotee is attracted by new things. But over a period of time, the excitement goes away. But if we are really experiencing Krishna, then Krishna is always Nava Navaiman. He's always youthful. You can be with Krishna and every moment you will be ecstatic and excited. That is a devotee. Samutkanta, always eager to practice more and more bhakti. Namagane Sadaruchi, he is always interested in chanting the names of the Lord. Just like Akinchan Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. He was always chanting. People would seldom see him sleeping, taking rest, always chanting. Namagane sadaruchi. Asakti stadguna khyane. Asakti, attached to glorifying Krishna. Priti stadvasati sthale, and attached to going to the places where Krishna has resided, performed his pastimes. So therefore, Prabhupada writes that the test of real change of heart is one becomes detached, and all the other ecstatic symptoms, they don't matter much. They may develop, they may manifest or not. But if a person is actually detached and showing all the other 8 symptoms also, he's a pure devotee. So anybody who is chanting offenselessly, you know what is the result? If he is chanting offensively, then he will not develop taste. If he is chanting offenselessly, Ek Krishna Nam Kore Sarva Papa Nash, Premera Karana Bhakti Kore Na Prakash. Ek, if somebody chants even once without any offenses, if somebody chants the names of the Lord, Ek Krishna Nam Kare Sarva Papa Nash, all the offense, all the papa, all the sinful reactions will be destroyed. Premera Karana Bhakti Korena Prakash, and pure devotional service, which is a cause of love of God, will arise in the heart. That's the power of one holy names. But we are so unfortunate that we are not able to experience it because we are committing offenses. Prabhupada writes, one cannot practice determined devotional service. One cannot be situated in devotional service properly if he lives a sinful life. Esham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrata, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. What is the secret of practicing dridha bhakti? Bhajante mam dridhavrata. The secret is if you live a sinless life. Prabhupada writes in one of the purports in Bhagavatam, nobody can be pure in mind if he is not pure in his activities. If he is not pure in his activities, yes. Nobody can be pure in his activities if he is not pure in his thoughts. Nobody can be pure in his thoughts if he is not pure in 4 things: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So it boils down the highest concepts to the lowest, the basic foundations of bhakti, spiritual life. No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. So if we are practicing these principles in our life regularly, then slowly over a period of time we will be purified. It will not happen so easily, so quickly. It will take time. Jarati ashu ya kosham nigiranam analoyatha. Bhagavatam says just like fire burns the wood slowly, slowly the wood is burnt in the fire. Similarly, jarayati ya kosham, the subtle body, the impressions which are there in the mind, they get purified slowly. Slowly we will develop such love and attraction for Krishna. Slowly it will happen. It will not happen overnight. So that's what Prabhupada writes. Premera Karan Bhakti. Unless one is pure in his activities, he cannot be sinless. And the power of the holy name is such that although this Kali Yuga is full of ocean of faults, Kaler dosh nidhe rajan asti hi eko mahan guna kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha param brajet. Just by taking shelter of the holy names of the Lord, Kaler dosh nidhi, it is an ocean of faults. But there is one good quality in Kali Yuga, Kirtana. Just by chanting, one gets liberated. What else happens when we chant offenselessly? Preme, says, Premera udar hai, Premera vikar, Swed kamp pulakadi gad gad ashrudhar, Premera udaya hoye. The sentiments of love will develop in the heart. Premera vikar. And what are the transformations? Pulaka, kamp, swed. All these symptoms will appear in the body. So these transformations, they are automatically manifested. We don't have to artificially cry, oh, let tears come out of my eyes. No. When a devotee is at the level of prema, tears come automatically. He wants to stop them. It comes in Bhakti-Rasamrita Sindhu. Daruka. Once he was serving Lord Krishna, he was fanning him. And just by having darshan of Lord Krishna's beautiful face, he was becoming ecstatic. He was having tears in his eyes and he was condemning the tears. Oh, tears, go away. Because he was not able to see Krishna and serve him properly. When Krishna is departing from Hastinapur, it comes in the first canto of Bhagavatam. When he's going from Hastinapur to Dwarka, all the ladies of Hastinapur, Kunti, Draupadi, Gandhari, Uttara, everybody is crying. Although they know that if somebody is going, we should not cry, it is not good. And they're trying to close their eyes, but still the tears are coming out. And if you have experience, if we have overwhelming emotions, even if we close our eyes, tears come out. That is ecstasy. Automatically, you don't have to artificially endeavor to bring out the tears. And if somebody is at such level, anayase bhavashay krishnera sevan eka krishna nama phaler paye etadhan. Anayase, and without any separate endeavor, anayase bhavashay. This bhava, material existence, will be destroyed. Just by taking shelter of the holy names of the anayase bhavashay krishnera sevan. One makes amazing, wonderful advancement in spiritual life just by chanting offenselessly. Ek Krishna, if somebody chants just one name offenselessly, the result is unlimited. But if we commit offenses, then we can go on chanting for millions of lifetimes. There will be no benefit. He na Krishna nama yadi laye baubar, tabu yadi prema nahe ashrudhar. That is our position. Durdaiva idrishamiha janina anuraga. Even if somebody chants many times, but still he is not developing any ecstatic symptoms. You know what is the reason? Tabe jani aparadh tahate prachur, Krishna nama bij dahan na kore ankur. That means prachur, lots of offenses are happening. When a person commits offenses, Krishna prem, the bij, the seed of love of God, doesn't sprout. Even Shravana Kirtana Jale Karai Sinchan, if we are watering the seed of love of God with hearing, chanting, but if we are committing offenses, then it will not sprout. Prabhupada writes, the only thing which is required to develop ecstatic emotions or advancement in Krishna consciousness is Trinadapi Sunichena. If we are humble enough to serve holy names, serve devotees in right consciousness, then for sure we will advance. But that is not so easy. To become humble, actually we can make a show of humility. But when actually we are tested, all the show of humility goes away. We can artificially say, oh Prabhu, I am so fallen, I am more fallen than anyone, but inside heart we know that I am not so fallen. I may be fool, but I am fool number two. This devotee is fool number one. you know so that is the understanding which we may have. Therefore it takes long time, and the process works. It works slowly. Just like digestive fire takes time to digest, process of Krishna consciousness slowly acts. Wheels of time grind slow but grind very fine. Nobody can escape the wheels of time. Kalosmi lokakshaya krit pravriddho. Krishna says, time I have come to destroy everyone. So therefore, just like Krishna's time is a manifestation of Krishna, which destroys everything. So holy names and the process of devotional service destroys all the anarthas in the heart slowly but thoroughly. What we have to do, we have to just tolerate the pain of purification. Because the purification is not easy. It is very, very painful. To be purified of our desires, to be purified of our ego, it is not so easy. Very painful. So when we are praying to Lord Chaitanya, we should pray to give us strength to tolerate the pain of purification. Otherwise, when in the practice of Krishna consciousness, the purification is so painful that the devotees sometimes give up. I can't tolerate this pain. In that situation, we need a devotee's help. In that situation, we need the help of our acharyas. We need the help of scriptures so that we can continue tolerating the pain of purification. Prabhupada writes, one should first take shelter of Panchatattva. If we want to reach Radha Krishna, then one cannot just directly barge into the kingdom of God. We have to go through Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. Prabhupada quotes a bhajan from Narottam Das Thakur. Gauranga bolite have pulaka sharira, Hari Hari bolite nayane babe nira. When will that day be mine? When while chanting the names of Gauranga, I will cry tears of ecstasy. Ar kabe nitai chand karuna hoibe, samsara vasana murak ave tuchha. When will Lord Nityananda show mercy? When I'll give up all these material attachments. Vishaya chadiya kabe shuddha habe mana, kabe hamahe ribo Shri Vindavana. So only when we give up attachments to this material world, to the sense gratification, to Vishaya of this world, then we can enter Vrindavan. Otherwise, we can buy ticket and go to Vrindavan, but actually to enter Vrindavan, it is not so easy. Because Vrindavan is not just a place, it is state of our consciousness. Prabhupada writes, for an ordinary person, worship of Lord Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu, it is easier than worship of Radha and Krishna. Therefore, it is recommended for devotees to install, if they want to welcome deities, they should first welcome Gaur Nitai. Because Mahaprabhu doesn't take offenses. And then Prabhupada writes, in the beginning, because of the previous sinful activities, it is not easy to serve Radha and Krishna. So therefore, in the beginning, one should worship Guru and Gauranga and Nityananda. And then when one develops sufficient qualification, then they can worship Radha, Krishna, Archa Vigraha. Swatantra Ishwara Prabhu Atyanta Udar, Tarana Bhajile Kabu na hoye nistar. Swatantra Ishwara, Lord is supremely independent. But if you don't worship Lord Chaitanya, there is no hope. Our hope is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu and Panchatattva. That is our hope. And our hope is our Acharyas. Rupa Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Rupa Raghunath Pade Haibe Akuti Kabe Hama Heribo Se Yugala Pireti. So only when we take shelter of our Acharyas, sincerely pray to Srila Prabhupada, pray to Saraswati Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur and all our Goswamis, then slowly we'll be purified. Then we'll receive mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya. Otherwise, if we don't accept Lord Chaitanya as our life and soul, there is no hope that we can be liberated. So we have to, yesterday also we were discussing that we have to worship Radha Krishna, Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu both. If somebody accepts one and rejects the other, he is lost. So a devotee should worship Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu both. Then only one can be purified. And then after describing the glories of Lord Sri Chaitanya now, Kaviraj Goswami describes and glorifies the author of, glorifies the book and the author of Chaitanya Bhagavat, that is Vrindavan Das Thakur. And just see how humbly Kaviraj Goswami is presenting himself. Ore modha loka shuna Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanyera Mahimayate Janibe Sakal. This is unimaginable. You know what Kaviraj Goswami is speaking. You cannot expect any of the authors to write in his book. So what he's saying, oh fool, why are you reading my book? Just read Chaitanya Bhagavat written by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Which author will do that? He'll glorify another author in his book and he'll say, you are fool, you are reading my book. Nobody will do that. But that is actually parampara. So Vrindavan Das Thakur, he wrote a book, Chaitanya Bhagavat, when he was just in 20s, very young. And after some time, there was another devotee, Lochan Das Thakur. He also wrote a book. And he named the book as Chaitanya Mangal. So actually, when Vrindavan Das Thakur wrote his book, he named his book as Chaitanya Mangal. And then after some years, Lochan Das Thakur also wrote a book and he also named it as Chaitanya Mangal. So then the devotees at that time, they discussed among each other. And they came to the conclusion that Vrindavan Das Thakur is actually the Vyasa of Mahaprabhu's pastimes. So therefore, we should rename his book as Chaitanya Bhagavat. So Chaitanya Mangal became Chaitanya Bhagavat. And Kaviraj Goswami, he describes repeatedly that, you know what I am doing in Chaitanya Caritāmrta? I am just writing whatever Vrindavan Das Thakur has not written. I am just accepting the remnants. So Prabhupada writes, this is how a devotee should present himself. That is the acceptance of parampara. Prabhupada writes, one should not try to surpass the previous acharyas and present himself as something very important. That is actually loyalty to parampara. If somebody thinks that, oh, I can achieve Krishna consciousness on my own, he's just a fool. He's making a fool of himself. So, and that's what Kaviraj Goswami is doing. He is giving all credit to Vrindavan Das Thakur and previous acharyas, because he knows whatever I am doing is by mercy of acharyas. He is setting such a wonderful example. Again and again, he is telling in his book, please read Vrindavan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Mangal. That is the most important book. And then Kaviraj Goswami says, Krishna Lila Bhagavate Kahe Ved Vyas, Chaitanya Lila Ravyas Vrindavan Das. So Mahaprabhu's Krishna Lila is described by Vedvyas in Bhagavatam, and the Vedvyas of Mahaprabhu's pastime is Vrindavana Das. That is the humility of Kaviraj Goswami. One time, Srila Prabhupada, he was talking to one of the uh, scholars, and he was telling that, Swamiji, I have read your book, Bhagavad Gita as it is. You know what you have done? You have just copied from Ramanujacharya's commentary and other commentaries. Actually, it is an insult. If somebody tells to another author, you have just copied it, it is an insult. It is actually a blame. You know what Prabhupada said? Prabhupada said, thank you very much. Because that is what Prabhupada would tell, that is what I am doing. I am just presenting the words of Acharyas as it is. That is my credit. I am not adding anything. I am not subtracting anything. That is my credit. I am just a postal pin, presenting the message of Krishna consciousness as it is, without any addition, without any subtraction. That's why Prabhupada named his book as Bhagavad Gita as it is. Vrindavan Das Koila Chaitanya Mangal, Yahar Shravane Nashe Sarva Amangal. Anybody who hears Chaitanya Mangal of Vrindavan Das, all the inauspiciousness will be destroyed from his life. He'll become successful in becoming pure. Yahara Shravane Nashe Sarva Amangal, all the inauspiciousness will be gone. That is what Krishna Katha does. That is what Mahaprabhu's pastime do. Yasya kilami vahavi sumangalai vacho vimishra gunakarma janmabhi prananti shumbhanti punanti vai jagat yastad virakta shavashobhanamati. Yasya akhil amiva havi. All the sins, they get destroyed. How? When somebody hears the words which are describing the guna, karma and janma of the Lord. Vacho vimishra guna karma janma bhi. What happens when we hear prananti shumbhanti punanti vai jagat? It gives life. It animates and beautifies the world. Otherwise, all the other descriptions, they are like decoration of dead corpse. What is the use of that? Nothing will happen. So all the literature and the novels and the magazines of this world, they are called as Vayasam Tirtham. They are like pilgrimage of crows. Nothing beneficial is going to come out of that literature. But if somebody hears Krishna Katha, they get purified. Vrindavan Das Koila Chaitanya Mangal, Yahar Shravane Nashe Sarva Amangal. All the inauspiciousness will be destroyed if we hear Mahaprabhu's pastimes. That is the only way one can be purified and satisfied. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Chaitanya Charitre Amrite Rasar Shravanendriya Tripta Hoy Shravane Yahar. It is an ocean. It is an essence of all the nectarine things. And people in the world, they are trying to be satisfied with things and people of the world, but they are not satisfied. Wealth, power, beauty, fame, nothing of this world can satisfy the mind and heart. Only Shravana Indriya Tripta Hoye Shravane Yahar. All the senses can be satisfied and pacified only when we hear about Krishna and Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Chaitanya Charitra Leela Amrite Rasar. Chaitanya Nitaira Yate Janiye Mahima Yate Jani Krishna Bhakti Siddhantera Sima. If you actually want to understand the Siddhanta and philosophy of Krishna's pastimes, please try to understand first the pastimes of Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Chaitanya, because and how to understand the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, please read Chaitanya Mangal. Chaitanya Nitaire Yate Janiya Mahinama, because everything about Lord Chaitanya is written in Chaitanya Mangal. Prabhupada writes, just like Bhagavatam is an authoritative scripture and it is so elaborate. That's why Bhagavatam is called as Nyaya Prasthan. Nyaya Prasthan means that which is based on logic and argument. So if we see Bhagavatam, very systematically Vyasadeva establishes Krishna to be the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada is very much against professional reciters of Bhagavatam. Prabhupada says they have two faults. First, they only discuss Rasa Leela and they portray Krishna as a lusty person. They are not glorifying Krishna, they are actually demeaning the supreme position of Krishna. And second problem with them is they are just interested in doing Bhagavad Saptah. Bhagavatam is not just to be done for a week, it is to be done nityam Bhagavata Seva. And Prabhupada writes, even one verse of Bhagavatam can be discussed for 3 months. Actually, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he did it. First verse, 1.1, Janmadhyasya to Anvayaditaratascha. This verse, Saraswati Thakur was discussing this one verse for 3 months. That is the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam. And that is the glory of Chaitanya Mangal written by Vrindavan Das Thakur. All the Siddhanta which is given in Srimad Bhagavatam about Krishna, we can understand only if we take shelter and receive the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. How to receive that mercy? By reading Chaitanya Mangal. Therefore, he's saying, oh fool, please read Chaitanya Mangal. And then he says, Chaitanya Mangal, Vrindavan Das Thakur has given such wonderful conclusion and a sense of all the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. And he has quoted Srimad Bhagavatam extensively. You know what is the effect if somebody hears Chaitanya Mangal? Even if he is an atheist, he'll be delivered. Chaitanya Mangal Shune Yadi Pashandi Yavan Seha Mahavaishnava Hoye Tatakshan. We cannot just imagine. Many times all these statements look exaggeration. How is it possible? If an atheist hears Chaitanya Mangal, he'll become a Vaishnava. It looks an exaggeration, but it is not an exaggeration. It is a fact which Kaviraj Goswami is presenting here. Say a Maha Vaishnava, not ordinary Vaishnava, Maha Vaishnava. Yeah, this shows the extent of Mahaprabhu's mercy. This shows the extent of mercy of the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. That's why Devakinandan Das Thakur, he writes in one of the bhajans, Brahmanda Tarite Shakti Dhare Jane Jane Eveda Purane Guna Gaye Jeba Shune. Every devotee of Lord Chaitanya is capable of delivering entire universe. That is the power of devotees of Lord Chaitanya. That's why he's telling anybody who reads Chaitanya Mangal, even if he is an atheist, will develop faith. So how we should be eager to read Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Caritāmrta. And Prabhupada, he gave more emphasis on Chaitanya Caritāmrta because this is the most comprehensive literature given by Kaviraj Goswami, which is mixed with such philosophy. Nobody can leave Krishna consciousness in dearth of philosophy if he reads the first 7 chapters of Adi Leela, which we have just discussed. Such intense, complicated philosophy is discussed. Everything you need to understand about Krishna or Mahaprabhu, it is given in detail. Then Kaviraj Goswami says, please don't think that Chaitanya Mangal is an ordinary book written by an ordinary person of this world. Vrindavan Das Thakur is not an ordinary person. Manushya rachite nare aiche grantha dhanya Vrindavan Das mukhe vakta Shri Chaitanya. It is not possible for an ordinary human being to write this book. Actually, from the mouth of Vrindavan Das, it is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who is speaking. Actually, anybody who presents the parampara, anybody speaking in parampara, it is Krishna who is speaking. So Krishna directly speaks through his representatives. Kasmai yena vibhashitoyam atulo jnana pradipa pura tadrupena cha naradaya munaya krishnaya tadrupina योगेन्द्राय तदात्मनाथ भगवद राताय कारुण्यता तशुद्धम तच्छृण्वन् पठन् विचारण परो भक्त्या विमुच्ये नरः. This is the this comes in the 12th canto of Bhagavatam. When Brahma is speaking, kaha means Brahma. When Brahma is speaking Krishna Katha, it is Krishna who is speaking. Kasmai yena vibhashito yamatulo jnana. When Brahmaji is speaking this jnana to Narad Muni, it is Krishna who is speaking. Tad rupena cha naradaya. Krishna in the form of a Narada is speaking to Vyasadev. Krishna in the form of Vyasadev is speaking to Shukdev. Krishna in the form of Shukdev is speaking to Parikshit. Don't think that Chaitanya Mangal is an ordinary book. It is not an ordinary, it is spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Prabhupada writes in the purport, one should not hear from anyone who is not a devotee. And he gives an example. If the serpent touches the milk, all the milk is very nourishing, full of all the nutrients. But if it is touched by serpent, you cannot eat, you cannot drink it. Similarly, if somebody who is not a devotee, he speaks pure Hari Katha, which is all nourishing, please don't hear. Don't listen to that person's Bhagavat, because it is mixed with his poison. What is that poison? Poison of material desires. Avaishnava mukhodgirnam putam hari kathamritam shravanam naiva kartavyam sarpochishta yathapaya. Because this poison of Vishaya is more deadly than ordinary poison. Because wish just kills one body. But if somebody does sense gratification or hears from a person who is engrossed in sense gratification, he will be killed for many, many lives. His devotional propensity will be destroyed. Therefore, Prabhupada writes that who can write a transcendental literature? Not anyone. Only a pure devotee, free from anarthas, free from the defects, he can write. One time, one reporter came to Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, how did you write these books? So Prabhupada told, actually, when I sit to write down, Krishna comes and dictates and I just take dictation. This person was confused. How is this possible, Swamiji? So now the disciple, he was just trying to be more logical. He said, no, what Swamiji, what Prabhupada is saying that, Krishna inspires him and then he speaks. Prabhupada said, no, I am speaking. Krishna comes directly and dictates to me. Why are you interpreting? That's why Prabhupada would read his own books. And sometimes he would read with him all the times. Whenever he would read his books, he would hear with such intensity. He would read with such intensity that disciples, they would be confused. And they would think, does he know that he has written these books? Actually, he has not written Krishna himself has written these books. One time, Prabhupada was sitting with Bhavanand Prabhu and he was telling that every morning when I sit to write my books, Krishna comes personally and dictates to me what to write. I just take dictation. That is a pure devotee. And that's how one can write transcendental literature. Prabhupada writes that actually a common man cannot write. Only an empowered personality. And even if the transcendental literature has some faults, but because it is glorifying Krishna, it is accepted by great learned devotees. Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo yasmin prati shlokam abadhavatyapi namanyanantasya shonkitani yat shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhavaha. Bhagavatam describes 5th chapter, 1st canto, Narad Muni is telling that scripture which is glorifying the names and form and pastimes of the Lord, they are written to create revolution in the lives of misdirected civilization. Even though they are composed wrong, with a fault, there may be some literal, some grammatical errors, but because it is glorifying Krishna, it is accepted by great devotees. Prabhupada writes in that purport that although our composition may not be perfect because our English is not so great, but because we are presenting parampara as it is accepted by great devotees. Prabhupada tells that Krishna gives intelligence, dadami buddhi yogam. Anybody who is presenting the parampara, Krishna gives him intelligence. And Prabhupada writes, same is true about Caitanya Caritāmrta also. What Kaviraj Goswami is doing, he is writing at such a ripe age, old. Cannot see, cannot write, cannot hear, cannot remember. Kaviraj Goswami is writing many times about his disabilities. And he says, Vriddha Jaratur Ami Andha Badhir Hasta Hale Mano Buddhi Nahi Mora Sthir. Oh, I have become old. Andha, I have become blind. Badhir, I'm writing, my hands are trembling. Nahi Mora Sthir, Mano Buddhi, mind intelligence, unsteady. Still I am writing. It is all mercy of Lord Chaitanya Nityananda. That's why I'm writing. Who is this Vrindavan Das Thakur? He describes more. Vrindavan Das Pade Koti Namaskar. Aiche Grantha Karite Ho Tarila Samsar. And I offer my obeisances millions of times at the lotus feet of Vrindavan Das Thakur, because just by writing Chaitanya Mangal, he has given people in general to get liberated from the entanglement of birth and death. Such a wonderful book he has written. Who is Vrindavan Das? Now, Kaviraj Goswami gives some history. Narayani, she was the niece of Srivas Thakur. When she was a small child, just 4 years old child, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would give her his own remnants. Narayanira Chaitanyera Uchishta Bhajan Tara Garbhe Janmila Siddha Sri Dasa Vrindavan. So because Narayani, she received the remnants of Lord Chaitanya, she achieved actually love of God even when she was a child. Mahaprabhu would tell her, Narayani, chant. And a small child, 4 years old child, Narayani, she would start dancing in ecstasy. She would jump and fall down unconscious. Prabhupada writes, who was Narayani in Krishna Leela? In Krishna Leela, Krishna had a nurse. Her name was Ambika. And Ambika had a sister known as Kilambika. So this Kilambika came as Narayani. And she gave birth to Vrindavan Das Thakur. And what a wonderful explanation Vrindavan Das Thakur gives in Chaitanya Mangal. तारकी अद्भुत चैतन्य चरित्र वर्णन यहाँ श्रवणे शुद्ध कोइला त्रिभुवन. What a wonderful explanation. Just by hearing the glories of Lord Chaitanya given in Chaitanya Mangal, the entire world, all the three worlds have become purified. Therefore, अतएव भज लोक चैतन्य नित्यानंद खंडिबे सकल दुख पाइबे आनंद. Therefore, O people in general, I appeal to everyone. Ateva bhajaloka, Ateva bhajaloka, Chaitanya Nityananda. Please chant the names of Lord Chaitanya Nityananda. Why? Khandibe sakala dukha. All, whatever miseries, whatever pain, whatever problems you have, it will be removed. And you will develop loving, transcendental devotional service to the Lord. So we'll end here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai.